Top 5 Coach Cal replacements. And I'm going to go in order from pie in the sky to 3 in the middle that I find intriguing, and then to 1 I think is the best fit. And Scott Drew is not on this list.
No.
He's not, because
Gutless.
I just don't see him doing this twice in one offseason. And like,
again, he's not one that's known for hey.
It is the Kentucky job.
Or even his agent, I get,
that needs to be, if this comes and goes and he doesn't, then that needs to be proof in the pudding after this.
Yeah.
Because if he keeps getting mentioned, then that's not a coincidence.
And by the way, his agent's job is to continue to do what's ever best. Yeah. But eventually, you can get yourself sideways with a fan base that 100% adores you.
Well,
by that rule.
Yeah. Well, and look, it was about to happen with Art Briles before everything else because it was Tech and then Texas and all of that. So
in the NFL.
Yeah, there was all those things that were going on. So number 5, the pie in the sky, Billy Donovan. Does he want to come back to college? I doubt it. He's the coach of the Bulls right now. But this is a guy who's got 2 national titles under his belt. Was at Kentucky under Pitino when they were winning back then in the 90s. I think, players that he could easily come back in with NIL and all that, but maybe now it's just easier to be in the NBA where your general manager says, all right, we're paying this guy $30 million. Go coach him.
Is that the AD on the left?
I think that's Billy.
Billy Donovan.
Is it really?
That's him now. That's
man,
Florida Billy, and then that's today
I have
Billy.
not really seen, I guess, him of late. Okay.
Time waits for no man.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to leave an NBA gig for Kentucky. I more than that, though, why go back?
Yeah.
I just not a big believer in, I guess there's certain, Bill Snyder, that's a unique situation. They needed him to come back. I don't think Kentucky's we got to have Billy Donovan come back. I think if you're Billy Donovan, you kind of already done your time there and you've moved on. And I just don't, that just doesn't vibe with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, Sean Miller. Is it Xavier now? Was it Arizona? Has done a good job. Now this year they were ravaged by injuries, but he's someone I think who could come in and fit at Kentucky and take their resources and go up. But I don't think he's near the top of the list. I'm just talking about guys that they could get that would take the job that I think would do a good job. And maybe also, and look, they don't need to go with, here's the hottest guy doing the hottest thing. It's the best guy, because they did that with Billy Gillispie, and he was not a fit at Kentucky at all.
What a disaster.
It was absolutely a disaster. So I think Sean Miller would be a fit. I just don't think that he's going to be a sexy enough hire for them right now.
He would have been if he was leaving Arizona before that NCAA stuff, or was it Adidas?
He was all in. No, I mean, I guess his was DeAndre Ayton, right?
Okay.
So number 3, Todd Golden at Florida. This is the young up-and-comer, and if you want to poach from an SEC team that thinks they're trying to get their groove back, this would be it. He's only 39 years old. Probably would have made maybe even a deeper run had they not lost one of their only real post player this year, right in the tournament. But he has them on the rise. They're very good. They're very athletic. He's bringing the shine back to Florida basketball, there's another guy on this list that you can do a 2-for-1, which is you can poach somebody from a conference rival and help your program at the same time. Number 2, Mark Pope at BYU. Look, they'll love the style, bombing threes, super aggressive, never out of any game, and he's one of their own. He was on the 96 championship team. He's got a ring. This one makes too much sense not to do because it's so overly practical, but he hasn't done probably enough at BYU yet to get the fans excited. But them coming into the Big 12 this year and then making the NCAA tournament shows you he's a pretty damn good coach if he can do that in year 1 at BYU. And that would be, it would be very, very interesting to see Mark Pope go back home.
John Clay earlier saying that, that's a name that's kind of a dark horse name, but probably not sexy enough right now for Kentucky, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But hell, I like him. I like his
agree with the other
too.
stuff, but he's definitely not a big enough name for them.
I'm all about practicality.
Sure.
That's the thing. And I think that sometimes this is lost in things. Texas A&M has been guilty of this across hires over many sports for a while, where let's show them how many, bags of money we can throw at them and get this big name. Well, is that guy the right guy for you?
You're still waiting on that person.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, is you're spending big regardless.
Yeah.
Because whoever's coming in is going to get a big contract.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like the 15th best paid in the SEC or anything. But I just think people are scared of taking the risk because there's such a huge investment involved. Mm-hmm. It's like that's the kind of thing that can cost you your athletic director job or your, analyst job or whatever. So better to go with the guys who have been there, done it, and have proven they can do it as opposed to the unknown, so to speak. But, yeah, I mean, I totally understand the appeal and why his name's getting mentioned. I just don't think that that's going to be like the guy to replace Calipari.
No.
Yeah.
That would be the guy that if they start running up against it, like, look, I'm good where I am. I'm getting a lot of money.
If it starts to drag a little bit, with all due respect to Mark
if
Pope.
it's just like this is not for me right now. And look, I'll compare it to Texas post Mac Brown. Like where they thought they could just call up anybody. And they're like, like, because that can happen. You can be like, look, I appreciate you calling, but, things are good where I'm at right now. And number one, I think the best fit would be Nate Oats at Alabama. He just got his team into the Final Four. He's already in the SEC. He showed what he can do.
Didn't he just get his buyout something?
Yeah, his buyout's really high.
Didn't Scott Drew just get a bump too?
Scott's buyout is lower than Nate Oats. But, again,
we don't really know that.
If you were here throwing around money and you're Kentucky, like nobody right now, the Kentucky fans, because a lot of them are ready to pay $34 million.
Right.
They'll willingly pay less than that to get another coach just as the signing fee, as the Japanese baseball league does is the posting fee where you've got to send them.
Changed a little bit.
Yeah, but to sign Daisuke Matsuzaka, you had to send them $20 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Hiroshima Carp. You got to.
They've got to get that money to make up for it. So that's probably worth it to most Kentucky fans. If Mitch Barnhout goes up and says, well, we don't want to, hire a coach with a big buyout, they're going to be like, no. That does not matter right now. We are, we just lost our coach. We're fine with it. Like, it worked out probably for everybody, but let's not pinch pennies right here.
Yeah, well, there's a very interesting situation that could be brewing here. But, I mean, I think, the names all make sense. Nate Oats, that would create another domino effect. Also, that Alabama job looks a hell of a lot better than it used to, right? I mean, that was looking suddenly like a real prime spot for somebody else to land.
And I'm also, I probably should have put Chris Beater on this list, too, for that job.
It's not a top five.
But, it's not, so.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But here's the most interesting part. Like, Billy Donovan, that would be tremendous. That'd be like the lifelong, the dream that a lot of people have had since he was an assistant coming back. But just the NBA gig, I don't think that makes sense for him. But yeah, I mean, they all make sense. We could dissect them all, why they would work and why they wouldn't. But here's the interesting part is I don't think there's anybody, and I don't know the dude, but I know he's got a huge following for a reason. He's been very successful as a person in this type of a space, whether just be covering college athletics, like that's just in general. But Matt Jones from Kentucky Sports Radio put up a post, and it was passed along, and I saw it on a different board. So unless I'm just getting totally fooled by Photoshop, which I don't think's really ever happened on this show, and I've looked around, a couple of other people have said, like, hey, did y'all see that Matt Jones post? Here's what he apparently said, and I'm sorry if this is paywall, but it is what it is. There's a lot of chatter out there that maybe Calipari is trying to find a way to stay. It sounds insane, I know, but that is making its way around the UK world. He goes on to say that he's got nothing from the school in that regard, but that some messaging coming from Calipari and Calipari-related sources is picking up steam, and it would explain why no one's heard anything today and why he was out in public walking his dog and then no comment at a local TV guy. So don't rule out the possibility,
hours, right?
Yeah, don't rule out the possibility that this all ends up with us not talking about a job being open in Lexington, Kentucky. But that was Matt Jones, and if that was anybody else, I'm not even mentioning it.
Yeah.
But since it is somebody who's very clearly in the know, I thought that was worth passing along. So it's very interesting what's to come here, potentially.
He's also just throwing out a possibility because